Welcome everybody to an edition of WCW 2004 here in TEW 2020, as it's the night after Slamboree, and we're moving on to Great American Bash. But first, we got a pre-show match. As in that pre-show match with terrible wrestling and non-existent crowd heat, Air Paris defeated Blitzkrieg, Shannon Moore, and Lash LaRue in 1523 when Air Paris pinned Lash with the diving leg drop. This gets a 62 overall. Air Paris gets a 70, Blitzkrieg gets a 48, Shannon Moore gets a 40, and Lash LaRue gets a 42. Pretty decent little pre-show match to get some cruiserweights, some in-ring time, and give Air Paris a nice little win. But yeah, basically just, these were the guys who I decided need some in-ring time, and there's nothing else for them to do, so why not? Then we open the show with with Goldberg coming out to a big pop, and he, basically, puts over the fact, he wants Booker. He needs to be next because Bill Goldberg, after taking care of business, is ready to be WCW champion once again. So Booker, you're next. And then Eric Bischoff comes out and basically says, well, look. Booker, Goldberg would be a great match for Great American Bash, but just defeating Mike Austin last night in Cage Heat is not quite enough to become the number one contender, because I want you to earn that number one contendership tonight, Miss Bischoff, Goldberg. I can't talk to that. I want a match that'll draw ratings, and that'll be a big win. So you need to face off somebody else who won last night at Slamboree against an old enemy, Macias. Big pop for that, as not just put over, it's Goldberg versus Macias tonight in a huge main event for Nitro. Goldberg says, fine, put over in front of me. Macias, fine. Once again, you're next. 84, decent little start to the show, and there we go. Then we have our opening match, which is put over as a number one contenders match for the tag team championships, as in a bout that had decent wrestling but didn't have much heat. Alex Wright and Chavo Guerrero get the big win, defeating America's Most Wanted, the Hart Legacy, and the Ruben Legionnaires in 10:05 when Chavo Guerrero pins Swinger Pompous. This gets a 65 overall, and back and forth match. America's Most Wanted do their double teams, Hart Legacy do some high flying, Ruben Legionnaires do some cheating heel shtick. But Ray and Chavo, work well together, and in the end, despite it not looking like, America's Wanted are going to get the win after hitting the death sentence on Hart Legacy, it breaks down to an 8-way eventually, and Chavo grabs Swinger, hits him with a brainbuster, 1, 2, 3, right in the middle of the ring. Right and Chavo get the big win to become the number one contenders to the tag titles. Chavo gets a 72, Alex Wright gets a 78, James Storm gets a 72, Chris Harris gets a 67, Jack Evans gets a 78 because he's great, Teddy Hart gets a 66, Swinger gets a 40, and Roman gets a 43. Solid little match to get put over Wright and Chavo as a tag team, and, have a solid opener to the show. And afterwards, Wright and Chavo celebrate to a 66. Fun times. Then we go backstage, where Jeremy Borash is with Eli Skipper, the new Cruiserweight champion. And, he puts up, it's about, he's prime time, baby. Because, nobody gave him a shot against AJ Styles. Absolutely nobody. Even people he thought was friends with this company. But look at this, as he wants the Cruiserweight title on his shoulder. He's the new Cruiserweight champion. He's part of the new generation of Cruiserweights here in World Championship Wrestling. And he's going to lead this title to greatness against anybody who wants to face him, because he's going to prove that he's the prime time here in World WCW, and then he walks away. Solid promo considering Skipper's overness, as he gets a 37. Then we cut backstage to where the Helms Legacy is, and Helms, Cash, Reno, and Mario Neal are all celebrating. Says, last night once again, Helms Legacy proved their greatness, as Cash and Reno proved they're the greatest tag team in this business today. And of course, I proved the false legend of RVD is just that false, as he could not defeat the greatest United States champion of all time. Of course, after a couple minutes, RVD walks in and says, look, well, bro, yeah, I didn't beat you, but you didn't beat me either. And so let's just remember that. And let's just remember that your legend will be snuffed out if you aren't careful, Van Dam. Van Dam says, look, you beat me once, you aren't going to beat me again a second time around. So Helms, you know where to find me, if you can do it without your backup. And then RVD walks away. 96, really good promo to build up their feud. Then we're back to the ring, as Mark Jindrak comes out and says, He's, as a member of the Chosen Few, he needs to entertain the people and prove to him how great the Chosen Few are. Booze. So he calls out anybody in the back who wants a shot at his television title. Conan music hits, and he comes out, and it's time for a television title match. This gets a 62, quick little promo to put over Jindrak and, set him up for the TV title open challenge here. Then we go to the actual match, which was actually shockingly better than I thought it would be. Wow, yeah, I'm just wondering what. Okay, hot crowd. Okay. Yeah, this is actually a lot better than I thought it was. Anyway, and you had a decent reaction of the crowd, but subpar wrestling. Mark Jindrak defeat Conan in 554 by pinfall to mark perfection. Jindrak makes defense number 3 of his world television title. So again, solid back and forth match. Conan hits his spots, but Jindrak actually gains the advantage. Hits a few big power spots, including a big power slam. Then hits the mark perfection 1, 2, 3, and pins Conan for the successful title defense. So yay for Conan, or Jindrak rather. Then Jindrak celebrates to a 69 as, the crowd boos. Well, the announcers put over Jarrett and Canyon's hellacious match, and that both are not here tonight. Then we go backstage where Keenan Sharpe is kind of promo and says, it may seem odd to the less knowledgeable you in the audience of why I decided to take this qualification loss last night. But you see, part of walking the path is knowing when defeat is possible and working your way to make sure that you still win, even in the face of that defeat. That's what I had to do, because even though Tajiri got the win, I am still the United States champion, because I walk the path of greatness, while others don't, like Tajiri, who thinks this is all about, and then oof, as Tajiri comes in and just begins kicking him and punching him before WCW was running and breaking apart. Let's get to 71 as we build up this feud between these two. Then we cut backstage where Jeremy Barash, who is busy tonight, is with Gail Kim. And she says, she was glad to prove last night that she's still the head bitch in charge of the women's division. Still, and continuing be. Colt gave her a hell of a fight. I'm not going to deny that she's a fantastic wrestler. But she's now the WCW Women's World Champion, and she'll take on anybody in the world because she wants to prove that this championship means you're the greatest women's professional wrestler on this planet. Then she walks away. 74, really good promo from Kim as she's being built up. Then we cut backstage where Deadpool are in the Graveyard of Souls, and, Morningstar, begins talking with me. Says, we put Palumbo back into the ground last night, and we also proved Vampire was never truly part of the message. And tonight, we'll begin the re-rise of Deadpool once and for all to the top of this promotion where we belong. It may seem odd to you that we're ready to face on Booker once again, but despite the changes in his personality, he's still the same man deep down that we tore apart for month upon month. 81, decent promo, as it's just a 4-minute thing as opposed to one of their longer ones. So fun stuff. Then we have a women's match, as in a bout at Turbo Wrestling, ouch, and nonsense crowd heat. Jordan Cole gets the big win over Lexi James in 906 by pinfall with a 62. Lexi gets a 53. Jordan Cole gets a 53 as well. Back and forth match, and Cole gets a rolling reverse cradle on Lexi to get the victory. 1, 2, 3, and sort of heat her back up a little bit. And post-match, Jordan Cole celebrates to a 38. Ouch. Well, it was only a 1-minute segment, so not the end of the world. Then we have Jeremy Rash, who again is very busy tonight. With Booker, the world champion, as he says he doesn't care who he faces. You see, Goldberg was scared of him being at the top, which is why he wants to take title off of me quickly, before everybody realizes that I was always the top man here in WCW, the true man, not him. Because he knows I'm a six-time world champion. And he's not. And also, yeah, I fought Macy's before, but the new improved Booker with his queen can take care of him as well. Now, can you dig that? Another great 100 promo from Booker. He's been hot as hell the last couple months. Yeah, great stuff. Then we go backstage where Sharpe enters Bischoff's office and is about to, is complaining about what happened with Tajiri. And Bischoff's like, don't piss off a guy who can shoot mist at you. That's not my problem. That's your problem. If you want to fight him, fine, but otherwise, don't come whining to me. 69, decent stuff. This is just a quick 2-minute segment in the back. As we move forward, As we have a Billy Kidman in ring saying, yeah, it's true. Like, what happened at K-Cheat, the reality is, Triumphant need to reprove themselves. But that starts tonight. Because, once again, I'm going to always prove, among my generation, I was the greatest cruiserweight. Not the man about to come out to face me. Because, yes, he sold the mask, he had the love of the children, but I was always the greater professional wrestler. I proved it before, and I'll prove it again tonight. Rey Jr. comes out and says, Billy, it's sad that we were friends at this point. Like, you're a totally different man. But if we have to fight once again for me to shut you up, so be it. And that's fine. Or a random Billy Kidman and Rey Jr. match for, well, not no reason, but just to build things up, as this gets an 86. The actual match gets an 81, as it's a decent match. Not quite one of their long, great matches. But, in About the Super Wrestling, Billy Kidman defeated Rey Mysterio Jr. in 1309 by pinfall with a Kid Crusher after April Hunter interferes. So again, back and forth, really good match between these two. Putting it all out there. Rey Jr. hits a few big flying moves, wacky takedowns, dive to the outside. Kidman does his US Pro style cruiserweights, including some suplexes on the smaller Rey Jr. Even hits the Kid Crusher a couple minutes in, but Rey Jr. is able to get on the ropes. Rey Jr. fights back, hits his springboard Hurricanrana. Well, he almost hits it, but Kidman puts him into a power bomb. And it looks like Rey Jr. is going to win as he goes to the top rope, but April shakes the ropes. Kidman hits him with a DDT from the top rope, and then hits the Kid Crusher 1, 2, 3 to get the big victory over his former best friend. As this gets an 81 overall, like I said, Rey Jr. gets an 83, Billy Kidman gets an 87. Really good match. And yeah, Kidman and April celebrate afterwards to a 72. Fun times. So there we go. We move forward. As we're backstage with Jonathan Toro, basically just laying into the best of the Norwegian and saying, look, I'm in charge now, Paisans, and you need to get your crap together. The Roman Legion are not going to be laughingstocks. So right now, we're laughingstocks because of you two. You need to get your mind back ready, focused on what you need to do in this business to survive. I'm going to prove to you what we need to do, and you guys need to make an impact, or you might be relieved of your duties, and you know what that means. So Toro is very upset at Roman Legion, who of course lost earlier tonight in that 4-way, but of course Toro hasn't had the best last couple months. He's been pretty successful, but he was TV champion, but he lost it. So maybe Toro needs to think about what he needs to do himself. Anyway, then we go backstage. I'm not backstage, but to a quick little video last night of cameras showing Eddie Guerrero, with a hangdog look, walking into the parking lot last night after Slamboree, kicking the tires on his car, very upset, before getting in the car and driving away. As then he comes back to the announcers to go over that, Eddie has not been seen since then, and even his nephew Chavo has not been able to get hold of them. This gets a 70, and now it's time for a main event. So, it's Goldberg versus Macias, so it's just an absolute, kick shit brawl all over. It's just 12 minutes of just two big sons of bitches throwing each other around. Macias actually gets a choke slam in the opening minutes, but Goldberg doesn't quite no-sell it, but he kicks out at one, and then Goldberg hits a spear really early, but Macias gets up from that, brawling back and forth. But it looks like Macias is actually going to get the win after sending Booker through, and not Booker, but who am I saying Booker? Why did I say Booker? Sending Goldberg after drilling him with the steps and then slamming on them. He sets Goldberg in the ring, hits choke slam as looks like he's going to pick him up for the crucifix powerbomb. When the lights go out, lights come back on. Vampiro is in the ring, and he hits Macias with a fireball, knocking Macias down. Goldberg gets back up, a little confused, not super, he still obviously knows what's going on, but he, Macias slowly gets up, boom, spear. Then he picks Missy is up, jackhammer, 1, 2, 3. So match itself gets an 89. Missy gets an 81 because he had the fractured wrist, so he's a little injured. Goldberg gets a 92. Suffolk was not enough selling show. I mean, it's Goldberg, Messias, what do you expect? Lack psychology, again, what do you expect? But yeah, solid show. Yeah, not our usual, like, because it was Goldberg in the opening promo, and these guys, the Bulls didn't have their usual long ass promo and other fun stuff. Like, it wasn't quite like the promo heavy. Well, it's still a little promo heavy because we were around 50%. But I guess I'm more saying like it wasn't our typical. What's what we're looking for here? Like, yeah, our typical like really long, not long promos, but like really lots of storylines because it's the post show Slamboree building things up. And then the show overall gets a 91, which is actually a really good show. Like, I mean, the main event kind of saved us. Well, I mean, I would say the Booker promo saved us. Not saved us, but Booker led things. Kidman and Rey Jr. doing well. And because the opening promo was not the greatest, but also that random Helms Legacy OVDA 96 also helped with matters. So yeah, not the worst show, but actually a really solid show for being in Tacoma as we're moving on to the Great American Bash. So we'll look at a few things, and then as this loads, because of course it's TEW after a couple years in game, so it takes a really long time for stuff to actually load. So we all get to enjoy this. All right, so mail call. Let's see here. Right, these guys are back from their little vacations. Fun times. Let's do a little bit of pre-booking to start out. So we got American Bash. We have in the main event Bill Goldberg versus Booker for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. Let's see here. What did Raw do? Okay, Raw had Undertaker and Triple H confronting each other again. Farouk DDP Warren defeated Raven K Quick and Sexy. Trish Stratus getting a win. Triple H defeating Nick Dinsmore in a random match. Kevin Nash defeating Google and Rigo in 81. Chris Jericho defeating Rikishi in 94. And the main event, Brock Lesnar defeating Val Venus. Show got an 87. So solid win for us. Anything else of interest? Anything interesting in the Independent Wrestling in Mexico City? Not really. Okay. So storyline wise, I'll go over that for you guys. So let's see here. Booker versus Goldberg's at an 86. The new tag titles feud at a 77. Ignore some people involved in that. Darkness Evolving is at a 77. Horseman Aramachis is at a 78. Johnny Toro's at a 49. RVD and Helms is at an 81. Imperial's Final Battle is at an 86 as well. And Walking the Path is at a 70. Again, I think I've showed this before, but we gained another point over the last month or so that's good. So yeah, again, let's go over first. Let's go over like the first last week of shows or so. So let's see here. Since Nitro last time around. SmackDown was Big Show and The Undertaker versus Juan Lesnar in a random 99, and Kurt Angle versus Steven Richards in a random 99, because of course it was. A weekly house show for our Dev Fed included Claudio Castagnoli losing in the pre-show, Tony Jones getting a win, Johnny Devine getting a win over Shane Balor, Travis Tomko, Keith Walker team Chance Profit in a 61, Killswitch defeating Regen Kai Graves in a 62. Let's see, Ray Lipin defeating Konkazina in a cage match in a 55, and Personality and Cassie O'Reilly retaining the tag team titles again in a 59. So that's all show for our pre-show. Let's see here. Dragon Gate's taping lots and lots of shows, so that's interesting. Small time independent wrestling Baton Rouge had Alter Boy Luke versus Sai Sung, and yeah, that's about it. What we care about. Our women's Fed had another show. So Ariel defeating Alison Danger in a 50. Beth Phoenix and Tracy Brooks defeated Madison Claire and Miss Molly. Bonnie Maxton with Steve Busick and Shirley Melissa defeated Roni Jonah and Pink Girls. Social Sheen defeated Lacey and Melina Osaka to retain the tag team titles in a 53. And our Dev Fed had their TV, and Johnny Devine and TNT defeated Christian Bola and Mark Smeltek and Rick Michaels in a 62. Kento Suzuki did a job, and Tony Jones defeated the Regen Adam Ortiz, and Ray LePen defeated Ryan Drago. Fun times. OVW had one of their weekly loop shows, and let's see here. Maven Mafia defeated Matthews and Angle. That's Eric Angle. Justice, who's Abyss, defeating the Machine. Lance Kane, Christian York routine tag titles over Homicide, Shelton Benjamin. And Rico Contino defeated CM Punk. AJ Weekly had Rocky Romero getting a win. Joel Grunt and Jamie Jacobs. Tony Momluke getting a win. And yeah, that's about it. And let's see, was there anything on the other OVW show of note? CM Punk and Shelton Benjamin teamed up again, but that's about it. CW had their Best of the Best show, including Amazing Red defeating Nate Hater in a barbed wire match. And the main event, Rick Blade defeating the Sandman for the CW World Championship. So that's interesting. And yeah, that's everything of note. No other real big news, as you know, that's the show at this point. So yeah, I mean, not much. Like, yeah, we're building up things. I think you can sort of see how we're building things up. The Tajiri, the Jerry Sharpe feud is continuing. We've got Ray and Javu set for a tag title match. Jamie Noble, of course, will be probably in good spirits about defeating Eddie Guerrero at Slamboree. Sean O'Hare will return next weekend. That's something that will be basically announced on WCW.com. So, of course, he'll probably be chasing after Macias once again, possibly, or the Deadpool in general. Let's see here. Chuck Palumbo lost to Macias, of course, so, those two will probably be, O'Hare and Palumbo will probably still focus on Deadpool once again, or maybe somebody else. Let's see here. Jared and Canyon, of course, have been feuding as well, so, they're still fighting or whatever. And I think that's it. Yeah, and of course, we'll see who's the first man to take on the Skipper for the Cruiserweight Championship. Some, fighting over who will be the first woman to take on Gail Kim for the Women's World Championship, and lots of other fun stuff. But again, consult show, not the longest video ever, but what can you do? As always, again, put this over. So I'm going to start this doing at the end of videos. I've got a Patreon. The link is in the description below. Again, no forced for anybody to do it. I'm going to be continuing to do all my series. But if you just want to give me support, or if you, not donate, pledge at the higher levels, you get stuff like access to videos early, able to download versions of the of the databases, entering your own character in one of my series, and other fun stuff like that. Just go to the link below, see if you want to or not. Regardless, up to you. But that's it for now. So if you enjoyed this, go ahead and give it a like. Comment below what you're liking and not liking. And of course, subscribe to the channel for lots of TEW 2020 content, including this series, my WCW 1994 series, now heading out of Slamboree towards the next big shows. My MLW 2006 series, which is about to have its first big Univision show, Battle Riot, including the Battle Riot, Battle Royal, Morishima versus Low-Key for the World Championship, Nigel McGuinness versus Matt Sydal for the number one contendership, and lots of other fun stuff. And of course, my WWE 2013 series, heading towards Money in the Bank, main evented by Cena versus Ziggler versus Orton, where Orton can win either title, both Money in the Banks, and lots of other fun stuff. But that's it for now. So talk to you later, and adios. Have a good one.